Hello and welcome to Trend Watch 777. We're going to be talking about two gentlemen they call the Waverly Two, and they're from Sussex County police officer murder case. So this was back in 1998 when Officer Allen Gibson of Sussex County, Virginia was shot to death with his own service weapon during a drug bust in Waverly. Now, two men, Ferone Claiborne and Terrence Richardson, were arrested and quickly charged with murder. They pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and accessory after the fact to avoid the death penalty. A federal trial in 2001 found them not guilty of murder, but convicted of related drug trafficking charges. In an unusual move, the judge sentenced them to life imprisonment based on their prior guilty pleas, despite the acquittal on the murder charge. Both have maintained their innocence, claiming the evidence pointed to someone else. So the evidence did point to someone else, and that person got away with murder. Over the years, Claiborne and Richardson pursued illegal avenues to clear their names, and they went to the innocent petition, investigated by their attorney, and uncovered evidence not present at the trial. In January 2025, President Joe Biden commuted the life sentences of nearly 2,500 people, including Claiborne and Richardson, as part of a final day clemency action. The commutation was requested by the men in 2022 and supported by supporters such as officers Gibson daughter. So these are the two men here. These are their photographs, and it looked like it was taken back in 1988 when they were first arrested there. All right, so now we're going to watch a video, and I believe that this is an update that um happened in their case. So shout out to WRIC ABC News, and we're going to go ahead and switch over there and get into the video.
That's hard for somebody that ain't never really been in no trouble. And we got to sit here and these people sit here and give us a capital murder charge.
Wait a minute, I just read, now I know these are the two men. Hold on now. He said they never been in trouble, but that article said that they did have previous arrests on related to drugs, and they are otherwise known as the Waverly Two. So I don't know, maybe that article was fictitious, it wasn't factual, but let's carry on.
For something we ain't even do. We get past that and turn right around and then put you in there for life.
A quarter century behind bars, but tonight the Waverly Two free and sharing their side of the story.
The interview you will see only on 8, coming 10 years after we first learned they'd been found not guilty of killing a Waverly police officer, but ended up sentenced to life in prison anyway.
A president commuted Terrence Richardson and Ferone Claiborne's federal sentences. An attorney general supported overturning the state felony. And of course, they're no longer in a cell, but they tell me they fear they'll never escape the dark cloud hanging over their heads since 1998.
I felt betrayed. Like, how is this even possible?
Nearly 3 decades later.
It's like you thrown straight into the lion's den. You ain't never.
Even possible, right there, there's a white police officer, and it was two black men, so you know they're going to book at them whether they did it or not. They just wanted an arrest.
Later.
It's like you thrown straight into the
And conviction.
lion's den. You ain't never experienced none of this before.
Two men, baffled and distraught.
These people tried to kill us twice. Twice they tried to kill us.
Contemplating how they ended up in handcuffs twice and then in federal prison in connection to a 1998 crime they're adamant they didn't commit.
We go in there as young men, we come out, we great. Yeah. I got to stand in the mirror and look at this every day.
Terrence Richardson and Ferron Claiborne say they were shell-shocked when Sussex County prosecutors charged them with killing Waverly police officer Alan Gibson during a struggle with Gibson's gun. But 17 months later, in December 1999, plea deals. For Claiborne, a misdemeanor and freedom that day. For Richardson, felony involuntary manslaughter, 5 years behind bars. There will be a lot of people watching this at home thinking, well, why plead guilty to something you know you didn't do?
I allowed the lawyer to scare me back into it because he's sitting there and said, we understand that even if you didn't do it, they're going to make somebody wear this case, and right now it's y'all. And you're going to get the death penalty. So what are we supposed to do? And it took us 26 years to get out, so where would we be now? We wouldn't even be right here.
The potential fate awaiting them at the time of their state pleas, Virginia's speedy death row executions. Within 6 years on average, the fastest in the country. But in our Taking Action team's review of court records, this letter from 9 months before those pleas states the Commonwealth's attorney was not pursuing the death penalty, and at least Richardson's lawyer knew it. Do you feel that exemplifies how weak their case actually was?
I think it exemplifies the fact they knew it wasn't us. Because if you thought that we actually killed, two black men actually killed a white police officer, you going for the death penalty.
Did you know that that was not on the table?
He didn't tell us, because he told us that day that you could get the death penalty.
Another reason for their pleas, their attorneys and state prosecutors recently testified that in 1999, they didn't know about other evidence that local and state police had. An eyewitness description, a photo lineup, and an anonymous tip, all pointing to a different suspect.
Wait a minute.
David
what?
Chapel, which was the Commonwealth attorney,
What kind of photo lineup was that? I hope this was redacted or something. It sounds crazy. Look.
Witness description, a photo lineup, and an anonymous tip.
That's bizarre. No, they had to do this. No. I know they didn't actually. This is not. No. I hope that they redacted these pictures so that their faces won't be put out there like that. But if they showed this picture to someone and for identification purposes, now pick this person out of the photo line. You can't even see their faces, for crying out loud.
All pointing to a different suspect.
David Chapel, which was the Commonwealth attorney, I think he testified that he didn't know.
He didn't have it.
So he's prosecuting the case, and he didn't have it. It was impossible for us to have it.
Those pieces of evidence supported Officer Gibson's own descriptions before he died. One coming from a 9-year-old girl.
So right around the corner. So when she hears the shot, she ducks over this way to look.
She saw a, quote, fat man with dreadlocks, not a match for either of the so-called Waverly Two.
She gave a description that didn't fit me nor Terrence. And not only that, they disregarded what the officer said, his dying declaration.
A declaration Officer Gibson made right here 28 years ago in the woods next to the Waverly Village Apartments. That complex, a former hangout for the Waverly Two.
No further than maybe from here to those air conditioning units was the police dog. So if I was out here, why that police dog didn't come to me? He would have had my scent. That's what makes me mad.
That anger resurfaced shortly after their 1999 state pleas as federal prosecutors appeared with new drug charges and again, charges for Gibson's murder.
They know for a fact that we didn't commit this.
Right.
They went to trial this time in 2001, the federal jury finding them not guilty of murder, but the drug charge, guilty. Then the judge executed a rare legal maneuver using their state guilty pleas to determine their federal sentences. Life with no parole. With no hope. Until our 27th.
You see what the black men, particularly, especially, have to go through? They just threw the book at them, gave them life without parole over a drug charge.
17 8 News investigation when wrongful conviction attorney
Well, it was more than a drug charge. We all know that, but on paper, wow.
Jared Adams saw their case.
I mean, this is important to me for a number of different reasons.
Wrongfully convicted himself, Adams argues law enforcement hid the evidence that could have cleared Richardson and Claiborne of everything. Over the years, garnering more support to review their case.
During Christmas time, like, people were sending us cards from, like, United Kingdom, Canada, all over the United States.
By early 2021, then Attorney General Mark Herring learned of their story and of Richardson's petition for a writ of actual innocence to overturn his plea, a process Claiborne's misdemeanor plea isn't eligible for. But Herring's team's review did find, quote, no rational fact finder would have found Richardson guilty had all the evidence been presented. Then Jason Miyares won the AG race and reversed that position.
It's 10,000 pages to this case. There's no way you did it in 29 days.
Without the state support, Richardson has faced an uphill battle across various state courts for the past 4 years.
Well, we got to keep on wearing a title of a cop killer?
Living in fear, coming home and still being uneasy because of, the title.
Back at the Supreme Court last month, they're now waiting to see if Richardson will get one last opportunity to make his case there.
We get to walk out of this courtroom not only with hope, but we get to walk out with the freed men behind us.
But because last year, former President Joe Biden commuted their life sentences for the drug convictions, they are at least home. They say they're working constantly to get readjusted.
We had flip phones and pages.
Hanging out together.
That was since 1998. I did think it's going to take some adjustments. Wow.
And with family, writing more books like the ones they wrote together in prison, even designing a clothing line. And they keep praying Richardson is granted his writ of actual innocence so they might both be cleared one day.
I'm reaching out to Jay Jones and whoever else is in position to help us.
Go back and look at what Mark Hearn and their integrity unit did. They took months to go back and investigate. They went and talked to people. Are you saying that they was wrong?
Do you feel optimistic you're going to get the outcome you want eventually?
Eventually. And I don't know how long that journey is. Only God knows.
They are in part eager to get help from Attorney General Jones because when he was a state delegate, he was critical of then AG Mark Herring's handling of the case. His office says he cannot comment now until the Supreme Court decides. But 4 years ago, he said both men deserved a full review of their case. That is somewhat similar to what we heard in 2020 from Officer Gibson's daughter, Chrisanna Gibson. At the time, she sent us a statement saying, quote, I want the persons responsible for my father's murder to be held fully accountable for their actions. If that is not Terrence and Farron, I want justice done for them, and it must not stop there. However, it's important to note that last year she did publicly post on social media saying she does believe the Waverly 2 killed her father. I did try multiple ways to reach out to her and the Gibson family to understand how they're feeling about this now, and I haven't heard back yet.
Two things strike me in watching that piece. One, this is a very emotional time for both of them.
Yes, and it is because they've missed so much with their families, right? And they're kind of reminded about that every day. And they were really adamant that they wanted to talk about why they pleaded guilty. A lot of people may not know this, but even for people who are exonerated by DNA evidence, at least 10 to 20% of those people pleaded guilty. So we do see people plead guilty to things that they didn't commit. What they want the state to determine is that that's them as well.
They kept them under interrogation for hours and hours and just wore them down till they had like no choice but to basically feel they had to plead guilty.
Second thing that struck me is though they are walking around right now outside of prison, they are free, but they don't feel free.
No, and in addition to just like federal restrictions that they're still under, they just feel like this dark cloud follows them everywhere they go. Their supporters believe them, but they feel like they're still kind of up against the wall. And frankly, they wonder, even if the state overturns the plea, whether that will change hearts and minds for everyone.
That's a harder thing to do.
Yeah.
I hope they change it for themselves, because you have to change it for yourself, because that's in your spirit. Your body, so and in your spirit been locked down for all those decades, and for you to come out, it's like a shock to your entire system. So I pray that they get free from their spirit, and then their body will follow accordingly. So I'm going to go over here and read some of the comments if there are any. And let me see. I don't see any. Did they turn the comments on? Well, oh, okay. Here goes some. Yeah, here goes some right here. All right, so hidden evidence, the cops crooked as ASF. Yes, they are, especially back in them. Well, they still crooked like that to these days, but it's not like it was way back then. Just corrupted demonic people in power, like they are today. This got to stop. This happens so much and nobody's held accountable. It sure seems that way. Whoever got them locked up should go to jail if they're still living. I mean, this was like 1998, so I'm not sure if the people that was responsible are still breathing here on this earth. No, they need to be deleted. No one, no, no. Whoever did this to them needs to go to prison. Okay, who was the federal judge? That person is cold piece of work. Yeah, back then like it is today. They have these like Ku Klux Klan cliques, so, you black and you poverty stricken and don't have any a means to defend yourself. And your back is against the wall. So, yeah, it was an uphill battle for them. People went in as young men and came out and then we came out gray. I gotta stand in a mirror and look at this every day. Man, that crap hit me so deep. I don't curse, so it has the S word there, but I say crap. So deep I couldn't even fathom what that crap must feel like to be taken to be taking your life away for something you didn't have crap to do with. Shaking my head. That's diabolical. That is just diabolical, especially that you didn't do it. That all that information didn't even point to you, but yet instead you locked up for life. That's wow. And then that's another thing they have to get over because I guess, I don't know how you can condition yourself to, but I believe that they conditioned themselves that they was going to die in prison. They had life and life. So, and then to come out and then back into everyday life, which we call normal life, but it's not normal for them because they coming out after, decades being locked in a system, you know? Okay, and then it said this system is so crooked. All right, so we get the gist of how those comments are going. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, and let's keep these two, the Waverly two, in your prayers that they can come out and adjust themselves spiritually. And I believe they do have Christ in their life because I don't see no other way that they could have made it this far, especially mentally. And they look good. I mean, they look like they were taking care of themselves while they were locked down. And now they're out. So they do look healthy, but we never know what a person is going through on the inside. You may look beautiful and gorgeous and handsome on the outside and just be a total mess on the inside. So I do pray that they get their spirits together and be free. So yeah, what is that scripture? Is free indeed. Let me look that scripture up real quick. So I don't like to misquote the Bible. Okay, let me see, because I'm gonna read it. That just popped in to my head, and I want to quote it, but free and deed. Okay, so, but I don't like to misquote scriptures, especially if I don't have it. Where is it? All right. If the Son sets you free, here we go, right there. Yeah, here we go, right here. That's John 8:36. It said, yes, the phrase free indeed is scripture found in found in John 8:36, which states, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And now this verse emphasizes the true freedom that comes through Christ. This phrase signifies liberation from sin and spiritual bondage, highlighting the profound impact of faith in Jesus. So thank you, Lord, for giving me that scripture that fits this perfectly, because they are in spiritual bondage because they don't feel free, even though they are not physically locked up, but they still feel locked up. They're not free. So, okay, so thank you for watching, and shout out to my new subscribers, and I will see you in my next video. Y'all be blessed, y'all. I'm out.